are you running for governor? I'm sure you knew that question was coming, but are you running for governor?
I am certainly leaning towards that.
That was Republican Rob Astorino, all but saying he was running for governor with Andrew last week without actually saying yes and when. Again, that was last Thursday. Now, since then, the rumor mill has been buzzing around the Westchester County executive. And guess what? Seems like he is running for governor. The question is when, not if anymore. The Post says Astorino is going to make it official next week. Other sources say it could happen as early as this week. Okay, listen. Here's the argument for him. He's in a democratically heavy registration advantage county. He beat a long-term incumbent and beat another well-funded candidate, and he won. Now, I know the argument is that's Westchester. How does this play statewide? Is there a path that he could make this thing close? Forget about winning, that he could make this thing close here in as blue a state as New York?
No, and the reason is that he is going to be very, very heavily outspent. Is that, remember, go back in time to 1994, where George Pataki, a state senator at the time, ran against a very unpopular at the time Mario Cuomo. Mario Cuomo's numbers were not good at that point. He was seeking a fourth term in office. Very difficult.
But just weren't there some parallels? Where,
no.
This guy from Peekskill? He didn't have a ton of money.
I'll give you the big difference. The big difference is that Mario Cuomo was a very unpopular governor at that point. A big difference. Now you have a popular governor. Cuomo's numbers are very, very solid throughout the state. That's a big difference going into it. And again, is that the financial edge, while Cuomo had one in 1994, Pataki was able to raise a lot of money.
You don't think
in
there's
that
an
election
argument that Astorino can make on the economic health of the state that actually resolves with people and gets them to go for it?
And I'll tell you no. I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the economic health of the state, if you look at the track record, and what you're going to see from Governor Cuomo is going to say, look what I've done on spending. We had a governor in Rockefeller, spending was 11%. My father was 6.8. It dropped to Pataki to 5.6, somewhere in that area. I've held spending to under 1%. So the argument that Astorino is going to try to make, which could get shot right back at him, they're both parallel in what they're trying to accomplish. Cuomo is trying to rectify a state that had budget problem after budget problem. He's lowered taxes. He's reduced spending to new levels of low. The same thing that Astorino was very successful in Westchester County. He's done a phenomenal job in Westchester, but yet the argument would be throwback. Well, you're still the #1 tax county in the state, which Astorino rightly can say. But look at the steps I'm taking to rectify years and years of. So from that standpoint, if you look at the economic Cuomo record, that's why many Republicans like myself very pleased with him. I mean, he's done a very
fiscally might as well be a Republican. But Tom, let me ask you.
So where does the argument go?
Some unforeseen scandal. Right. Is there an issue that this governor could have on his plate between now and the fall that could be a real problem for him?
Richard, there's always something out there that could possibly happen. But again, if you look at the issues that Republicans have sort of yelled and screamed a little bit about, whether it was guns, whether it was gay marriage, et cetera. If you look at the polling across New York State, not just Westchester County, but across the state, those are numbers that are polling in the 70%. They want stricter gun laws. They want gay marriage. They want pro-choice, et cetera. All issues that play in Governor Cuomo's favor right now. So, I mean, as Rob looks forward, I think that he really has his eye on 4 years from now. That's what the game plan is. Not to get out here and to get annihilated in this race, but get my name out there. And quite frankly, what I think that Rob should do, my advice to him would be, is that set yourself from 4 years from now and innocuous, move center on some of the social issues. That's what I would do, because as you get, this isn't 1994 New York. This is now 2014. We're going to look 4 years from now, in 2018, we're going to even be farther to the left. Here's a good opportunity to move and moderate some of his social
And he was able to duck some of that
him.
stuff in his last race for county executive, because at the end, what does county executive have to do with issues of abortion or gay rights? But as a governor, you got to answer these questions.
But I wonder if he can do that in part by playing against the Carl Palladinos or the Donald Trumps out there and he's been making noise against both of those.
That's a problem for him, though. Listen,
but do you think he can actually make headway by doing that?
And that's a very difficult situation for him, because Palladino is very, very well liked in that western Buffalo, Erie part of the world, where he's going to need that conservative vote to come out.
What about
Donald Trump? Means nothing in the Republican Party. He can go kick the hell out of Donald Trump all he wants.
But can he actually gain points?
There's only one way that Astorino can win, and there's only one, and that is if he's able to trick Governor Cuomo into losing his temper. And that's not going to happen, because the Cuomo folks have been working for years on his reported temper, and they keep it well guarded and well inside. That's the only chance that Astorino has.
So kind of like if we remember back from prior races when he went after Carl McCall, he said something intemperate or whatever.
That type of scenario.
Do you see a pathway? See, I think Tom's right, but I think we're going to see in new polls out there that there is an ebbing here in the popularity of the governor, fairly or not. I think there's, people are saying, when does the uptick happen statewide here? And I think he's a little bit more vulnerable. Not that I bet against the governor winning, but as we were saying before the break, Astorino could get over 40% conceivably, which is an achievement in itself in New York.
I mean, we talked about this before the new year. I have been scratching my head to figure out why he'd put himself out there, and I think Tom is right. The only plausible reason could be because he believes he can make a respectable go of it this time around and run again in 4 years. And I think, you are taking a risk when you play that game, because with this, the way the media works now, he could find himself in trouble in some things, but he's a very smart guy. So, potentially he thinks he can make a go of this, have respectable showing over 40%.
I just want to follow up on something that Dominic said.
It's a dangerous game, though.
Because I think Dominic Carter could be one of the things that trips up Governor Cuomo. Governor Cuomo has not done a lot of interviews.
That's not going to happen.
He hasn't done
That's
a lot.
not going to happen.
But he hasn't done a lot of media.
You know why?
Hasn't done a lot. He hasn't done
because
anything.
He's going to have to.
He's going to have
talked to
to.
He's gonna have to.
You know why that won't happen?
talked to his
People
brother.
like me that can trip him up, he's not
He
going
won't
anywhere
talk to him.
at all.
He
You
won't.
know,
And
you don't think he's going to have to? Somebody who wants to win big?
How long do we think? Well, at a certain point, he's going to have to talk to the media. He's proven he doesn't have to.
He's only talked to his brother. That's the only media person he's spoken to.
Why? Look, he is going to spend $40 million on TV and radio.
Yeah.
That's his message.
He wants to run up the score.
Just a broader question. I know we're
And
up
that's how
against
he
the break.
does it. Not by talking to the media, he doesn't
Tom,
do it.
why is this so unappealing? I know the registration, Democrat, Republican, but you got to figure that there's some self-funded Republican in New York. That's not a lunatic like Palladino that says, you know what, I saw what Bloomberg did. I've seen what people do in other places. You look at the candidates for statewide office. I'll leave Rob out of this because I think he's more credible than maybe some of the other names you've heard. But for Senate, why isn't this appealing anymore to be a statewide Republican nominee as much as it used to be, like under even your old boss?
Well, look, I think that Rob is certainly very credible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a super job in Westchester County. You have to give him a lot of credit for that. He said what he was going to do, and he did it. If you're a wealthy individual, I mean, this is why I've laughed at the Trump thing from moment one. I've been out on social media. I said, I laugh at the media. You guys have created this nonsense, and he's using you every single day of the week. If you're Donald Trump, if you're a very wealthy Republican, why in this environment do you want every single thing, every tax return, every bill you've paid or not paid, or every red light you've ever run in your life? Why do you want that out there?
Could you have made the argument against Bloomberg?
But again, it takes an individual that has now accomplished everything they've ever wanted to accomplish, and has set this goal on, listen, I think that I can spend $100 million and become mayor of New York City. You got to remember, the Times did a very interesting piece about Mayor Bloomberg, that he spent, I think the number, if I remember correct, was over $600 million in the course of his mayoralship, between his elections and what he spent just on. I think it was an outrageous amount of money that he just spent on bagels and coffee for his staff every morning. He paid for and lunch. He paid for the bullpen for their lunch and stuff. So all of that stuff, you have to be sort of a different type of person to say, you know what, I'm willing to do all of that sort of stuff. And there are very few people today, and particularly as a Republican in New York, that this is a Democratic state.
Yeah, and give you an idea. Some of the challenges are on the social issue front here. And when we come back from the break here, we're going to talk about the gay debates. Not so much in New York State here, but in different states in this country. While certain timelines are happening in the world of sports, for example, that say how far we've moved, in different places, this debate ongoing. Now, we come back here, we'll talk about certainly what's gone on in both the NBA and soon the NFL, but how states like Arizona are wrestling with issues that have political ramifications. Stay with us. We'll be right back.